Watercress, Nasturtium officinale, is a perennial herb that is edible whole leaves and stems. It can be added to salads, sandwiches or soups, and is a source of iron, magnesium, zinc, calcium, manganese, and many vitamins like B, E and K. The plant has significant anti-cancer and rejuvenating properties. Frequent consumption may reduce the risk of cancer. It is considered a natural antibiotic, improves the body's immunity. Its delicate leaves have an interesting spicy taste. Watercress is one of the healthiest plants in the world and is relatively easy to grow. I will show you how to grow it easily, and even if you don't have a pond or even a garden. Watercress was cultivated in ancient Rome. In Poland it is considered a native plant, however it occurs only sporadically in the western part of the country and is considered an endangered species. It grows in compact clumps up to 50 centimeters high. It has a hollow branched stem, erect or slightly lying, and may be up to 1–2 m long. The shoots take root very easily at the nodes. The leaves are oddly pinnate. The apical one is larger than the others and has an oval heart-shaped shape. The fleshy shiny leaves are dark green, sometimes brownish in color, and have a characteristic spicy taste. The whole plant has a specific pungent smell. From the beginning of summer to mid-autumn, small white flowers appear on the tops of the shoots, gathered in clusters typical of Brassicaceae. The fruits are elongated pods with small seeds arranged in 2 rows. Watercress is a self-pollinating perennial plant, although it also reproduces vegetatively. It belongs to hydrophytes, the plants whose buds overwinter in water. Watercress blooms from June to September in temperate climates, and even from March to October in warmer climates. Sowing watercress under cover can be done from March to April, and in the ground from May to August. The so-called watercress needs sunlight to grow. It is often confused with ordinary cress, which is a different plant. It should be grown in a sunny or at least semi-shaded position. It tolerates high temperatures quite well. The most important thing is the constant presence of water. Watercress, as the name suggests, naturally grows in shallow waters of various types of streams, ponds, or even in ditches. It grows best in clean alkaline water and fertile soil rich in organic matter. Requires a position in full sun or partial shade. It will grow almost anywhere if we provide it with constantly moist soil and plenty of light. An attempt to grow it in an ordinary vegetable patch will end in failure even with regular watering, as we are unable to provide it with sufficiently moist soil. For this reason, it is worth providing it with slowly flowing water when growing it at home. A stream or pond, if you have one in your garden, may be useful to create the best conditions. On a larger scale, grown mainly in hydroponic conditions. This species does not cause any problems. It grows well, and as a perennial plant it can grow for many years in one place. The only condition we must meet is regular and abundant watering. If you don't have such an opportunity, you can make your own water bed, for example in a bowl or bathtub. The smaller the container, the more difficult it will be to maintain the optimal water level because it will dry out faster. The optimal water depth is only 15 centimeters and should not exceed 40 centimeters. You can start growing it in a small container that will be constantly wet, but should not be allowed to rot or dry out. Then you can transplant the plant to a larger container. In nature the vegetable grows in ordinary ponds, so it does not require too much soil. Fill the bowl with soil. You can use gardening soil for vegetables and pour water over it. Push some of the soil aside to create an island in a small pond. Plant a plant on the island. A visible pond will indicate the water level and whether it needs to be refilled. The ground will be constantly wet and will draw water from the pond. It is also worth changing the water from time to time because old water may be low in oxygen. I also introduce tadpoles into the container to maintain the biological purity of the water, and they will also fight pests. The roots of seedlings are very delicate, so it is better to sow the seeds immediately in the right place. They germinate after approximately 8–12 days. The first harvest can be carried out 50 to 60 days after sowing. We can regularly harvest fresh leaves almost throughout the summer. Watercress can also be grown from seedlings. You can place plastic or peat pots on a fairly deep tray, fill the first ones with light soil and sand and put 3 seeds in each. There should still be water in the tray. This can be done at the end of March, and the watercress can be moved to its permanent location in the second half of May at a spacing of 25 centimeters. Watercress can easily reproduce vegetatively. Just break off a few shoots at a node and place them in a container with water. When the roots are puffing out, plant them in the selected place. Watercress likes scattered sun, so it is best to find a place with light shade but also good access to light. If you want to grow cress on a larger scale, you can build a water reservoir. Make sure the bottom slopes slightly and is at the right depth. In addition, water should be able to flow, so make sure to create a network of channels. When it comes to soil, it is best to use slightly sandy soil with a pH ranging from 5 to 7. Then sow the plants at intervals of approximately 15 centimeters. When it comes to using fertilizer, the perennial naturally grows in nutrient-poor places. Therefore it does not need special care or additives in the form of fertilization. Cress is a plant that blooms for a very long time. It will be ready for harvesting from September to May. This means that if you properly protect the shoots against frost, you can use fresh vegetables even in winter. However, remember to pluck only individual shoots, not all of them, because then the plant will not regenerate. In addition to the leaves, the stem, and even the flowers can also be eaten. The only important thing is not to pick plants that are too young. They have an uninteresting, bitter taste. If left to its own devices, the plant will flower, produce bolls, and then reseed itself. In the meantime it will also grow from shoots, and pinching it will stimulate it to grow even more. If you don't have a garden and want to grow cress at home, it also grows well in pots, so you can keep it in the kitchen or on the balcony. It then grows very quickly, doubling in size in about 2 weeks. Optimal conditions are when the average daily temperature reaches 8 to 15 degrees Celsius. Germination should occur within 14 days. Typically 5 seeds are sown for every 2.5 centimeters and cover with 2 centimeters of soil. It must be watered abundantly so that the water in the pot resembles mud in consistency. For a few days after planting the seeds, you should use less water, but after a few days you should water it very heavily. If pests appear in the pot, you can sprinkle it with water and garlic. Just grate 1 to 2 cloves of garlic, pour 1 liter of cold water, leave for 2 days and then spray the plant. Growing watercress in containers is a more convenient option than growing them in water. However, while commercial growers know how to keep water fresh and bacteria-free, this is much more difficult in the garden. As long as watercress plants are well watered, they will thrive in a pot with good quality compost. To ensure proper growing conditions, you can place the pots on deep trays or vessels that are constantly filled with water. To prevent stagnation, rinse the pots thoroughly with fresh water twice a week. Mixing charcoal with compost will also help keep the soil fresh and disinfect it, as well as prevent pest attacks. The growth is certainly accelerated by picking off the leaves, so you can easily eat the plant almost every day. Just remember to keep the soil properly moist. In summer it is worth putting it outside because the soil indoors is constantly moist and may easily rot. It is also worth noting that it can stay fresh for a whole week after picking if it is kept in the refrigerator in a damp package, for example a damp cloth. Producers often allocate flood plots for field crops. Sufficiently moist and fertile soil is recommended for plantations. Young plants that are exposed to too much sunlight should be protected by shading. Watercress can be grown from early spring to autumn. If the sun is too strong, it is hot and there is a lack of water, the plant becomes slender. Regularly cutting it allows you to keep the shoots firm and fresh. It is best not to let it bloom because it becomes hard after this process. Watercress is threatened by snails that eat the crops. Another pest are aphids that feed on leaves protruding above the water surface. This vegetable is sometimes attacked by the downy mildew fungus. A major threat will be hypoxic, unamended water, as well as excessively dry soil. This may lead to the death of the roots.